Hey everyone, today we're diving into a topic that is, let's be honest, pretty much every homeowner's nightmare: water damage. It's chaotic, it's super stressful, but you know what? There's a professional process designed to bring order back to that chaos. We're going to break down exactly how the pros turn a disaster back into a home. So just picture it for a second. A pipe bursts or a storm floods your basement. You open the door, and there it is, the sight and sound of water everywhere it shouldn't be. That sinking feeling in your stomach, it's universal. And the big question is, what do you do next? Well, that exact moment of crisis is where the professional restoration process kicks in. It's all about replacing that uncertainty with a clear plan of action. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to walk through this whole journey, step by step. First, we'll talk about those first few critical moments when disaster strikes. Then, the professional assessment. After that, we'll get into stopping the damage. And finally, we'll look at restoring your home. Think of it as a roadmap from total crisis back to comfort. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, when disaster strikes. That initial moment when you find the water, it's more than just a shock. It's actually a super critical window of time. Seriously, the decisions you make and the actions you take in these first few hours can be the difference between a pretty quick fix and a long, complicated, and expensive problem. The key thing to remember here is speed. Water just doesn't wait around. It seeps into your floors, it climbs up your walls, and it creates the absolute perfect breeding ground for mold. A delay of just 48 hours can turn a simple drying job into a huge mold remediation project. So getting professionals on site immediately isn't just about cleaning up the mess you can see. It's about preventing a much bigger, hidden disaster down the road. So, you've made that emergency call. The pros arrive. Now what happens? Next, it's probably not what you think. See, before they even touch a water vacuum, they start with the single most important step, a really thorough assessment. This is where they figure out what they're really dealing with. And they follow this 3-step process. It's actually designed to empower you, the homeowner. First, they assess all the damage, both the stuff you can see and the stuff you can't. Then, they help you understand the severity of it all. And that clarity is what lets you make the best possible decisions for your home's restoration with absolutely no guesswork. But you might be wondering, how do they see what's hidden? Because water is sneaky, right? It just loves to hide behind drywall and under floorboards. Well, this is where technology becomes absolutely essential. Professionals use all this advanced equipment to hunt down every last bit of hidden moisture, the kind that causes mold and rot long after everything on the surface looks totally dry. And here's a perfect example: thermal imaging. Think of it like a heat vision camera for your house. Wet spots are colder than dry spots, and this camera sees those temperature differences. It literally creates a map of exactly where the moisture is hiding, so they can target the problem without just randomly tearing your walls apart to find it. Pretty cool, right? Okay, so once they have that complete picture of the damage, the mission totally changes. It's time to shift from assessing to acting. It's about actively stopping the damage from spreading any further. This is what's known as the mitigation phase. It's go time. The very first and, let's face it, most obvious step is getting all of that standing water out of there. Technicians use these incredibly powerful, specialized pumps and vacuums to extract thousands of gallons of water, and they do it fast. This gets the bulk of the problem out of the way so they can move on to the next layer. But removing the standing water, that's really just the beginning. The real challenge is the water that's already been absorbed into the structure itself. The drywall, the wood studs, the subflooring. This is where the real science of structural drying comes in, and it requires some very specific, very powerful tools. This whole process is like a coordinated attack. You've got these industrial-grade dehumidifiers just pulling gallons and gallons of moisture right out of the air. At the same time, high-speed air movers are blasting air across wet surfaces to speed up evaporation. And all the while, technicians are using moisture readers to track their progress, making sure every single material gets back to its normal dry state. And crucially, they'll apply antimicrobial agents to stop mold in its tracks before it even has a chance to start. All right, so once the property is officially clean, dry, and stable, we finally enter the last phase, restoration. This is all about rebuilding, repairing, and bringing your space back to exactly the way it was before any of this ever happened. Now, before the rebuilding can start, there's a really careful sorting process. The professionals will go through and identify materials and all your personal belongings that can actually be saved. Those items get inventoried, professionally cleaned, and then packed away for safekeeping. Now, sadly, some materials will just be too damaged, and those have to be carefully removed and disposed of, following all the safety rules. And this deep cleaning goes way beyond just sorting stuff. We're talking about removing any contaminated building materials, like soggy drywall and insulation. It also includes specialized treatments for really nasty things, like sewer backups and any lingering odors. They can even set up temporary power to keep the project moving forward safely. And then, finally, the home gets put back together. This could be something minor, like just replacing some drywall and painting, or it could be a complete reconstruction of an entire room. With all your salvage belongings cleaned and ready to come back in, the real goal is to make it look and feel like the damage never even happened. You know, this quote really gets to the heart of it all. A professional service isn't just about having the right equipment and people to do the work. It's about partnership. It's about them giving you the clear, expert info you need to get through a really stressful situation and make the absolute best decisions for your home and your family. Which brings us to this one last question. After all the work is done, when the trucks leave and the tools are all packed away, is your home truly back to normal? Well, a really professional job means the answer is a confident yes. It's not just about looking good on the surface, it's about knowing that every hidden corner has been dried, treated, and restored, making sure your home is safe and sound for years to come.